Subaru Impreza WRX Type RA and pull the old EJ205 engine, remove the dash and put in a new one, and then we give it some healthy bolt-ons with the merge so that we can get the best bang for our buck.
Alright, good afternoon from Okinawa, Japan, home of Okisubis. Today, we have a video that we're calling Bang for Your Buck. And the reason why we're calling it a Bang for Your Buck is because there's some really cool stuff that you could do to OEM platforms using OEM setups pretty cheap. This right here is an RA WRX Impreza. It's a version 1.2. You would know that if you saw the introduction video, right? So it's got the old school front end look to it. Beautiful car. We're gonna merge this bad boy right here. So some people are gonna say we're going backwards with this because it does have the EJ205. It is closed deck, so it's a really nice platform. All right, so before we get in and start tearing this thing apart and you guys get all distraught about us tearing apart an RA, let's try to justify our actions a little bit. One, you can see the engine bay is not so clean. This car has been sitting for a while. We actually got the outside resprayed. Car's been sitting a little bit, so once we clean it up, it'll be a lot cleaner. But yeah, so the engine here specifically, this is actually a decent platform. Like, we really debated on, do we pull this motor out? We actually even have a Link ECU setup, like an aftermarket standalone ECU setup for it. And again, this car is most likely going to be shipped back to the States, so even if you get it tuned to be able to get more power, maintenance on it, right? To get these parts in the States or even in Japan is difficult. So number one, we're thinking maintenance. Number two, this setup specifically, the harness, the mass airflow sensor has been cut. Check this out. This is the crank sensor, right? How bizarre is that? Like, if you're ever pulled apart a crank sensor in a Subaru before, there's a connector in the engine harness. You just unplug it right here and you pull out this. This goes all the way underneath the manifold and then through the backside. This is a very good example of just how different this original old school version, I think 1 motor is. The R2 AC, the old school AC stuff, that's another issue. That's going to stay there though, unfortunately. Ain't nothing you can do about that. Quick little update before we press forward. The engine pretty much prepped up there, and you can see it's cracked open there between there. It's literally just lift it and pull it out. All the harness is completely removed. Going on the inside of the car. Dash is completely gone. Harness is out. All the heater core. Dash. Old dash. Dylan. That's amazing for you guys. It's a few seconds. That last clip with the engine that was in with it spread a little bit was May 2nd. Right now it is like May 17th. Just been slammed, a bunch of different projects and things like that we've been doing, but progress has been made. This is actually the install process. So as you can see right there, there's the version 7 ECU. The harness is merged already, and I will be probably done with the dash today. And then next, we will be prepping the engine. We have the manifold off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with everything on the floor, basically what we're going to be adding to this car and what you got to do to be able to get it in. The twin scroll aspect of it is going to be the trickiest, if you will, because you will need the oil pan to fit the equal length headers. But we'll go through that. But yeah, progress. Slowly but surely. Looking forward to this thing. Oh, and I don't know if I've already said that. Dylan went to town on the full engine bay and cleaned everything up. Looks beautiful. All right, so we are back. Interior's done. All the wiring is done. We do have to clean up the engine bay a little bit. Also have to upgrade the power steering pump. We're gonna put the newer style 02 to 07 power steering pump in there also to clear the inlet. So we got a little bit more to do there. But in the meantime, or before that, I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling the engine. The EJ205 again is what we're going to be using. Bang for your buck video. So we are trying to get the most out of our buck. But EJ205s out here are very reasonable. Over here, Bug Eye started in 2000, so 2000 all the way to 2007. Every Bug Eye, Blob Eye, Hawkeye, Forester, automatic and manual version had the EJ205 out here, right? EJ207 was only on the STIs, and depending on what kind you want, if you want the version 7 or version 8, version 9, either way you look at it, the EJ207s are extremely expensive right now. So we're going to use the EJ205. What we're going to do is keep the long block completely stock. We're not going to do anything crazy. It does have the EJ205 oil pan, the big junky one. This is no good. You don't want to use that. I would recommend changing that out regardless. In our situation, we have to, because we are going twin scroll. We are using a VF37 twin scroll setup, equal length headers, so we need to change the oil pan. So we already have that removed, and this is the little section of bolt-ons right here. This is what we're going to be using. This is all just stuff that we have laying around, essentially. Like, there's nothing really too crazy expensive. In the States, if you were doing something like this, you would probably take something like STI turbo setup and put that on like an EJ205. You could do it that way too. In Japan, we got the twin scrolls. Depending on what you have in your area will determine what will be a bang for your buck type thing. If we take an EJ207, like a version 8 or version 9 engine, we'll take this stuff off, put aftermarket stuff on there, so we would have this, you know, ultimately laying around. Upgraded VF37, equal length headers. We have an HKS twin scroll downpipe. So when you run a VF37, if you're running a Subaru twin scroll setup, the headers are different, the downpipe is different, and going back, like we said, the 2.0 oil pan is different than the twin scroll setup. So you will either need a JDM twin scroll oil pan. In America, there is the 04 and up 2.5 liter STI that has this. If you have the Forester STI in your location, you have this. So just make sure it's a twin scroll style or the smaller oil pan. And it's good also if you're doing any type of track or gymkhana or anything like that. We veer away from this because you get less slosh in these things right here. We've had good success with these oil pans. So this is a good upgrade regardless. As we are in the engine doing the oil pan, we will also be doing Killer Bees, their pickup and their baffle. That's what these are here. And then we have a parent inlet to connect to the turbo. And for the fuel, we're actually just gonna slap pink STI injectors in there. That's it. Stock turbo, stock injectors, and they're just laying around. So that's what we're gonna use. We got a, what is that? A Turbo Smart blow-off valve. This is cool. I like doing this. EJ205 from the Foresters don't have TGVs inside of them. So it's a cheap way to do TGV deletes. And they're still top feed, yeah. So we will take new seals, new O-rings, install them in here, slap them on the engine and call it a day. And then we have a Torque Solution top mount intercooler. That's pretty much it. Other than that, it's clutch. Yeah, we have a few clutches laying around. I don't know which one we're gonna use yet. We got like 2 carbon fiber Exedis, so we'll probably use something like that. Is that it? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh, and then we got some cool little, it's not even a thick one. It's like maybe a 2.5 inch mid pipe with a STI axle back. So we mess around with launch control, but with a catted downpipe, might not get so much fireballs. But we need a catted downpipe so we can pass inspections out here. So it is what it is. But yeah, we'll get all these bolt-ons onto the EJ205 and get it started and go from there. Exciting. we have oil changed. We just unplugged the crank and then we primed the system because we had the baffle and everything on, so we want to get a little bit of oil in there before we start it. Some coolant in here, and then we're going to burp the system, but first start for the RA. Just when you thought the goodies were over, we got a set of 10 coilovers, we got a set of Enkei wheels, and AR1 tires. We like to stretch our tires around here the opposite way. These are 7.5Js with a 225 on there, so a little bit of a bigger tire on there, but it's nice and meaty. Get those things on here and see how it changes up this car. Yeah. We were hoping to get a little bit of fireballs and whatnot in the evening time, but we actually ended up selling this car before we could even post it up or anything like that. A good friend of ours in mainland Japan has a buddy looking for a GC8. We showed him this one, and it falls under the bracket of exactly what he wants. So we're gonna ship this out. It's either today or tomorrow. It's gonna ship out to mainland Japan. We'll see if we can even get a couple clips of it arriving over there. Yeah.